Hey guys, Flash Freak here. Before we jump into this review, I just want to kind of let you guys know I want to make a few edits at the beginning here real quick from when I was editing in a few things here or there. First things first, whenever I talk about the Future State Justice League, Jess Chambers does go by they, their, them. She doesn't use male or female pronouns, she goes by they. So it's Jess Chambers, they, them. So I'm just going to try to use Jess Chambers for now on to try to avoid the confusion with that. And secondly, I mispronounced that she was with the Green Lantern in that. She's actually with the Aqua Woman, who's Andy Curry. So just want to correct those two things real quick. Besides that, enjoy the review. Hey everybody, Flash Freak here. Just going to do something a little bit different today. I've already done one of these before on my channel. And this is going to be a comic book review. Last time I reviewed comic, it was the Flash Year 1 story. This one is fairly newer. I'm going to be reviewing the Flash Future State comics. Got both number 1 and 2 here. So we're going to jump into that. Also, obviously, since I'm going to be reviewing this, there will be spoilers for this. And also kind of spoilers overall for the end of Darkest Knight's Death Metal, the Flash Future State, and a few other of the Future State stories. I can't let you guys know up front, the Flash Future State comics are the only ones that I have actually read. Everything else I've kind of looked into a little bit here or there just to kind of help complete the story. So I do want to let you know that up front, that there will be spoilers for all those things. Since it is fairly newer, I just want to let you guys know. But yeah, I'm going to be reviewing the first and second Flash comic from Future State. And at the end of the video, I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of talk about Future State in general, my thoughts on it, and what I kind of think about it, and just looking into DC's future. So with that, let's go ahead and get going on this. As I said before, it's going to be Future State 1 and 2 of the Flash. There is only the two comics. This is actually a variant of it. This is what the original first edition looks like. I also have a variant of the first edition, but I'm going to be putting it right over here next to my New 52 number 1 that I got of the Flash. So I'm going to be putting it up with the rest of my stuff. Also, if you guys haven't really seen before, I do go ahead and have all my stuff kind of displayed a little bit here or there. I got other things in front of me here that you guys can't see, but at some point I plan on doing like a video kind of showing you guys the rest of my room. This is just a little bit what you guys can see for set. I just wanted to show off some of it since, you know, we're talking about, obviously, my favorite thing, The Flash. So, with that, let's jump right into it. With this story, it takes place pretty much directly right after Dark Knight's Death Metal. Most of the Future State novels take place after that. I don't know why I said novels. Most of the Future State stories take place directly after Darkest Knight's Death Metal. And pretty much how I've seen it summarized, for those of you who have not read into the stories much, pretty much the end of Darkest Knight's Death Metal founded the DC Omniverse, which essentially is multiple multiverses. So, the Future State comics take place on Earth Prime, which is the main DC universe, or the main DC like planet. So it's going to take place on Earth Prime, but it's a different version of what many consider like the main story driven part of DC. So this is pretty much what I like to call like the worst case scenario of what could have happened after the Darkest Knight's storyline. So a lot of the Future State is fairly recent. Like I said, it's going from January to March of this year, 2021. If this is way later in the future. From what I can kind of tell, it seems like most of them are going to be like little one-off stories. This is one of the one-off stories, is The Flash. A few of the other ones seem to be like that as well. However, DC has said there is a few other stories from this that they do plan on continuing on, which I believe Justice League is going to be one of those. I'm not for sure if any of those are, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see how sales are doing. So, but with that, let's go ahead and jump into comic number 1. These are all just called Flash Future State number 1 and 2. They don't have any other fancy titles or anything. So, excuse me. But beginning with the first comic, it takes off right at the beginning where Team Flash, at least most of Team Flash, seems to be infiltrating a enemy base. It's the Checkmates, I think, is the name of the group. I don't 100% remember. They were only here for a short little bit. But anyways, Barry Allen, Max Mercury, Jess Quick, and Impulse are breaking into this base. Jay Garrick's also there too, my bad. But they're breaking into this base to take specifically the Thinker's Cap. The Thinker is one of Flash's well-known enemies. For some reason, this group has the Thinker. A few things are a little bit off all this. First things first is they have like Captain Cold's gun, Mary Master's gun, the Rainbow Raiders glasses. They're using rogue tech against these guys. In the middle of the fight in the skirmish, Impulse talks about, oh, this is okay without having super speed, and he gets killed. He actually gets shot and dies in this raid. After they end up securing the Thinker's Cap, they escape back through the portal that they came in through. And like I said, they do carry Impulse back, but Impulse has died. So right off the bat, within like the first like 2 pages, we already have a death. And there's that little one-off comment where they talk about not having super speed. They find out after you get the Thinker's Cap that apparently one of the big long-running things here is for the past like year or so, Wally West has actually been possessed by something. They don't know what it is quite yet. You find out later that it is actually one of the horsemen of the apocalypse. It's actually Famine that has taken him over. And the reason why Barry Allen and them are getting the rogue tech is because he has stolen all of their superpowers. So no one on Team Flash except for Wally West has their super speed. Everyone has lost it. So they're kind of trying to adapt on how to save the world from Wally without having their powers. But yeah, so in the raid, Impulse dies. Bart Allen, Jess Quick, and Max Mercury and Jay Garrick aren't very happy about that, obviously, because they feel like it was a reckless decision. Barry still assessed that they had to do that. You know, unfortunately, it's necessary because they got to try to stop whatever is affecting Wally. In this little bit of backstory that they have here, you find out that while Wally has been possessed by Famine for the past year, not only has he killed quite a few people on Earth, he has also killed Wallace West. He's taken all of his life force and all of his speed force as well, and has actually straight up killed him. So, for those of you who are maybe confused by that, whenever they did the whole New 52 thing, and they had like the DC show, they made 2 different Wallies. They had the normal Wally West, which is this guy with the orange hair here. Not quite this one, but he usually has the ginger hair. The other one, Wallace, is an African American, and it's, like I said, I think it's mainly based off the CW show, but they also put him in the comics as that as well. So I think they started off as 2 different Earth Wallies, and then they eventually just made them 2 separate characters. There's Wally West and Wallace West. Even though Wally's short for Wallace, it's still 2 different characters. That way they just kind of made them 2 different characters for the future reference. But yeah, so in this storyline, like I said, Wallace has been killed by Wally. He's killed multiple other people, and actually later on in the comic you do see him running through and like decapitating people. It's a little bit crazy. I liked it. I thought it was actually a kind of cool thing because a lot of people don't realize just how deadly the Flash could be if he was evil, and this is a good example as to how that could happen. So, but anyways, they talk about how Wally's changed over time, and once whatever this is possessed him, you know, it's gotten worse, and worse, and now he just needs to feed. And they find out that it's Famine. The reason why Barry doesn't just want to come straight out and kill Wally West is because he believes Wally is still in there. Obviously, this is a very big, like, you know, son complex where he feels like, you know, he pretty much helped raise Wally West through Kid Flash and everything else before he left him. So he really thinks he can reach Wally West in some way, shape, or form. He believes he's still in there. And the reason why is because whenever he was training Wally, he always told Wally, you know, one of the biggest tactics as a speedster is to stall. Pretty much, you're able to stall out a fight longer until you can get help or reinforcements and other people there. It's one of the very first things that apparently speedsters are always taught. It's the first thing that Barry learned. If you guys have seen a lot of like Flash fights, whether it's in the comics or in the TV show, movies, stuff like that. He always has to outthink the opponent, especially if they're more powerful than him. They have to kind of outthink it. So what he's thinking is Wally's trying to stall, because a lot of the things that he's killing, he hasn't really killed, except for killing Wallace. He hasn't really killed a bunch of heroes, per se. He's mainly killing villains, Neanderthal, stuff like that. He is killing, don't get me wrong, but he's kind of hampering it a little bit more than what Barry would think it would be if he hasn't been trying to stall. So Barry believes that he's using the first art of the Speedster and trying to stall until Barry and the rest of them can come and save him. So that's why Barry's insisting that, Wally's still there, we need to save him. The whole entire reason why they were getting the Thinker's Cap and why it was a necessary evil is because they're using the Thinker Cap's technology onto Jay Garrick's helmets to hopefully use Mac Mercury's psychic power to communicate with Wally through the Speed Force. They're thinking if they go through that way, that Famine won't be able to access it, and pretty much he can get a clean shot to Wally. Which sounds ideal, but my first complaint on that would be he's been running around as Wally this whole entire time, so you think Famine would at least have some kind of understanding of the Speed Force flowing through the body? You would think, but I don't know. That's just one little gripe I guess I have. Before I get into this too much more, I just want to say I do love the art styles of these comics. They are all really dark and gritty, which I do like that. But just the overall art, I think even in the smaller panels and stuff, are all done exceptionally well. I know in the last comic that I reviewed, there was kind of hit and miss. I actually love the art style of this. I don't know if they have the same artists or same art team doing all the comics, or if it's just this one, but I love how this one's done. And obviously throughout the video, if I haven't already been doing it, I'll be putting in different shots from the comics where I can. I'll try to do it the best I can. My camera's not the best at doing still shots, but I'm going to try to at least get the overall kind of gist of what's going on. But yeah, so they're getting the Thinker's Cap to use Max Mercury's power to talk to Wally. So they go ahead and do that. They are able to contact Wally through the Speed Force, through using Mad Max's psychic powers. Not Mad Max. Max Mercury. My lord. I can't speak today. But they think that they got Wally. However, they end up finding out that it is Wally. However, Famine is letting Wally speak to them to draw them in. Essentially what Famine does is pretty much just give them false hope. And he actually ends up attacking them through the Speed Force and choking him out and draining them. And at one point, Just Quick even says hey, we feel like we're dying. That's how bad it is, how bad of an attack it is. And so luckily, Max Mercury was able to pull them out before too much was done. However, we do have another death where Jay Garrick does die from that attack. Now, it did say that his heart stopped, so I don't know if the psychic attack itself killed him or the strain of it caused his heart to stop. I'm not really for sure, but either way, Famine is technically responsible, which means Wally's responsible. So Wally has now killed 3 of his fellow Speed Force members. Okay, my bad. Technically, he only killed 2. Impulse was killed by other villains, but it's for the same cause. So, 3 speedsters are dead already. With the death of Jay Garrick, Max Mercury and Just Quick tell Barry, this is too much. We can't do this. We're done. They don't have our powers. We don't have a chance. We're done. They essentially retire, but they tell him we're done. We're not pursuing Wally anymore. You can do this on your own. And once Jay Garrick dies, Barry Allen and when they give up, Barry Allen's kind of understanding, you know what? Okay, I get it. We're going to have to put it into this pretty much. And this is where he kind of flips the script a little bit, jumping into the second comic. So the end of the first comic pretty much is him going over the line and saying, okay, I understand, we need to stop this. Great opening piece, kind of sets up the story for the next one. For the second one, you start off, it says 2 months since Jay Garrick died. It says that specifically 2 months. And the only reason why I want to mention that is because in the first comic, I'll do a shot here and here. In the first comic, Barry Allen has his blonde hair clean shaven. The second comic, he has whitish gray hair, full beard, everything. Now, don't get me wrong, I love that style, but I don't know if, like, honestly, he's under immense stress and he's been, like, working on these, he's been working on the tech from the rogues, to make it more lethal, so that way he can hopefully stop Famine and Wally West. So he's been working on pretty much 2 months nonstop on these weapons, so I understand he's under a lot of stress and a lot of, probably little sleep and stuff like that, but it's pretty drastic to have your hair change color and gain a full beard in 2 months. I mean, I don't know. The beard could probably be done, but the graying of the hair it looks great. I'm not going to lie, it looks great. I actually love how this Flash looks later on with the costume of you doing all the rogue stuff. That costume, I love it. I actually want to cosplay it at some point. I actually have it saved on my phone so I can cosplay it at some point. But it doesn't really makes sense for it to only be a 2-month difference and for him to drastically change that much. I think they had an idea of what they wanted to go with and they went with it, and I love how it looks. It looks great, it's drawn great, the whole entire, like I said, I love the art and all this. However, maybe they should extend it out the time a little bit more. I don't know why they could have been, a year later or something, because either way, I mean, he's going to be doing the same amount of damage no matter what Famine is. So, and with how the finish of the comic kind of is, it would have been probably more helpful to extend that out a little bit longer. So, and I'll get more into that later. But so even though he's kind of been working on these to hopefully stop Wally West and Barry Allen is hoping to stop Wally West, he keeps talking into his signet ring. And the reason why that's significant, because that's obviously where he holds his costume. And it's recording everything that he's been doing to all the weapons, what fatigue is, all this stuff. Well, not fatigue, what Famine is, everything that's been going on. He's been recording all of it. And at the very end of his recording in the monologue at the beginning, he pretty much says, this is the last time I'll talk to you guys, goodbye, essentially. And suits up. And I'm going to go ahead and put this right here again. Love this outfit. This is by far one of the best outfits I've ever seen the Flash in. And like I said, remember, he does not have any speed powers, so he's going in with just technology, just stuff that he's gained from his former villains. You can see there's, Captain Boomerangs, he has Mirror Master's gun, Rainbow Rager's glasses, everything. He's got it all. So, he's going to go ahead and jump into the fight. Most of the rest of this is them fighting. I'm not going to lie. I understand he's been spending the past 2 months fixing up the weapons and stuff and making them better, since they do explicitly point out that since he's a speedster, he kind of knows how to stop a speedster, because what's kind of effective against stopping that. So maybe that's why he's so effective. But my lord, he does kick Wally's ass quite a bit. I'm not going to lie. It only solidifies the point that if all the rogues were to have worked together, they probably could have stopped Barry Allen and all the other speedsters at some point if they would have just used all their stuff together. But, I mean, they're criminals. I guess they can't figure that out. So, but, anyways, yeah, so most of the rest of this comic is Wally and Barry Allen fighting. Barry Allen getting the upper hand here or there, and Wally getting it right back. I do have to say, it is pretty brutal. You can tell that Barry Allen is out for blood. I think what he's thinking is, and it is true, that Wally is pretty much mostly gone. He's just trying to maybe touch the spirit of Wally. But at some point, he actually shoots off, he cuts Wally's West legs in half and everything. I mean, he goes crazy. And, yeah. So, most of it is just fighting, monologues back and forth, them talking about, how one gave up on the other and this and that, and how he knows Wally's somewhere in there. Right towards the end of the fight, Famine actually jumps out of Wally West's body, and that's where you get, the sickly Wally West, and, he's actually on the ground. You can pretty much tell at this point he's pretty much just a husk of a body. Essentially, Famine's just using the body of Wally West. Wally West, I don't think, is anywhere around anymore. And Barry's kind of realizing that as of now that Wally West is gone. It's just Famine now. However, Famine lets him know for sure that the reason why he's been milking this for so long is, despite him feeding on, life forms here and there, the biggest thing feeding Famine is actually the hope that Barry has had that Wally's still alive, that Wally's still there, that he can get Wally back. It's just the hope. The hope has been feeding Famine this whole entire time. Granted, so have the other things, but he said the hope is stronger than anything else that's been feeding him. So that's why he's been drawing this out for so long. Which is why I'm saying, if they would have extended that time frame from 2 months to a year, it would have made more sense because Barry would have had all this time hoping, even though with all the measures he's gone through, like, hey, I'm hoping maybe we could stop Wally, all this hope for Famine to know that it's not going to matter. It's just feeding Famine more and more and more. So I feel like storytelling-wise, it would have been better also to extend out that time period. But either way, at the very end of the comic, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Famine pretty much tells Barry, hey, you've been feeding me this whole entire time with your hope. Screw off. He ends up killing Barry at the very end. Famine does take Wally's body back over after he kills Barry. However, Wally's gone. It's literally just a husk of a body. Wally's no longer there. So, for those of you counting at home, that is Barry Allen dead, Wally West dead, Wallace West dead, Impulse, aka Bart Allen dead, and Jay Garrick all dead. That's 5 speedsters dead. And then Jess Quick and Max Mercury are both still alive. However, they are retired and with no powers. So they're essentially gone as well. One person I did not mention, it pops up later on in the book in like a little flashback scene where Barry shows everyone that he's failed. Iris West is also dead. I think it's mentioned shortly at the beginning of the comic, but Iris West is also dead. I don't think Wally killed her. I think she may have died from another event. He may have killed her as well, but I just know he didn't kill any speedster. Or he didn't kill her as a speedster. She just died separately. She's not in this universe at all. She's already dead and gone. She shows up in the flashback scene of people who have been killed because of Barry. So, essentially, everyone in the Flash family is dead at this point. There is no Flash family anymore. At the very end of the comic, the signet ring that Barry was wearing when he died, that has all the recordings of everything, is found a little bit later, I think they said like a year or so later, by a Teen Titan named Cybeast. The very last clip you see is says, Cybeast to Starfire, we found the ring, we're going to do better, pretty much. So, that ends the story of the Flash. These are literally the only 2 stories of Flash Future State that there will ever be. The only 2. Because actually at the very end of the second one it says to continue the story, you gotta watch, or not watch, you gotta read Future State Teen Titans 1. So, I'm going to do my review of this real quick. Like I said, love the art, love the story. It's a great 2 comics miniseries. I love these. I would say I would recommend reading them if you guys can. I love them. However, like I said, Future State is a big overarching story that has expanded every single one of DC's properties. There's Future State Batman, Future State Dark Detective, Future State Superman, Future State Justice League, Future State Aquaman. Everyone has a Future State comic. So to get the full story, you're going to have to buy multiple comics, a series that you may not really care about. Flash is my main thing. I may read Justice League or Teen Titans or like a few things here or there that may have like Flash characters and stuff in it. Batman has a little bit of a passing interest with me as well, but not super big in like Aquaman and stuff like that. So I wouldn't want to read those novels, or not novels. I wouldn't want to read those comics either. So I would recommend, if you guys do want to get into the Future State novels or the Future State stories a little bit, go ahead and get them from a series that you like. Like for me, it'd be The Flash. For Nightfall, it'd probably be like someone from Batman. Or actually, I think there's a Future State Nightwing comic as well, so he'd probably do Nightwing. But yeah, all those really great stories. However, I don't like the fact that they're trying to make it to where to get the complete story you have to buy different ones. I just looked up how it ended, and I'm going to tell you guys that right now. So pretty much what happens for the Flash part of the story is Wally West is eventually has Famine taken out of him by Raven of Teen Titan fame. She actually absorbs all 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse inside her, and then she seals herself into the Rock of Eternity. And in order to guard the Rock of Eternity, Shazam actually splits into his normal power and Billy Batson. He actually leaves Billy Batson behind to guard the Rock of Eternity to make sure it's sealed forever. So that's how the Flash portion of this all ends. Whenever Famine gets taken out and absorbed into Raven, Wally is dead. For real. Like, the body of Wally's for dead. Wally's been dead for a while now, but the body of Wally is for sure dead. more happens in that story. I'm not going to get into it because I didn't read it. I just wanted to find the ending for my part. But yeah, that's how Future State ends for the Flash. Kind of depressing. However, I do like how they make it to where it's definite that in the Future State storylines there will be a new Flash. For those of you who don't know, one of the big marketing thing for the Flash, or not for the Flash, but for Future State, was the new Justice League. For those of you who don't know, or didn't see any of the news coverage that was on for this, the Future State Justice League has all original members. So there's no Diana, there's no Bruce Wayne, there's no Clark Kent, obviously no Barry Allen or Wally West. They're all original. With that being said, I do feel like they pushed it a little too much, just because they had a few LGBTQ options in there, which I'm all for. I love the LGBTQ movement. I don't have anything with that. So for those of you who don't know, Batman is now an African American. He's a black man. It is actually Jace Fox, who is, I believe, the grandson of Lucius Fox, who is one of Batman's tech guys. For those of you who don't know much about the Batman stuff, he is Morgan Freeman in the Dark Knight series. So, the person Morgan Freeman plays, my bad. So, that's who Lucius Fox is. This is his great-grandson that is now the new Batman. Superman is Jonathan Kent, who's the son of Clark Kent, so that's a, direct descendant. Same thing for Aquawoman. It's actually Andy Curry, who is the daughter of Arthur Curry. So once again, another direct descendant. The new Wonder Woman, can't say her name, but she's been in the comics for a little bit. She's actually a Latina. She's from Brazil. So we have now a Latino member of the Justice League. And then there is a Green Lantern who is female. I believe she's also a lesbian. Don't hold me to that, but I think she's a lesbian as well. And then the final member, the 7th member, is where I get into it. It is the Flash. Her name, I believe, is Jess Chambers, and I say she, but she is non-binary, which means she's gender fluid. She doesn't identify by any specific gender most of the time. I'm saying that she goes by she, because I think that's what they do in the comics. I'm not 100% sure if that's what she does go by, so don't hold me to that. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But I do know she is the first gender fluid character in DC, so it'd be interested to see that a little bit more. The only thing, like I said, I have gripe with that is that I wish we could learn about that more organically by just reading the book, rather than being told up front about it. Because I feel like a lot of people would like to connect to the characters more, and unfortunately there are people in the world who do not care for those kind of people, or those kind of things. And I feel like they're not going to want to learn about the character just because of that. But then again, there's people who may want to learn about the character because they know that. It's a double-edged sword either way. But I personally want to go into something knowing nothing about it and learning more and more about it. Then once I fall in love with it, maybe digging into it a little bit more. Because more times than not, and I hate to say it, but your sexual orientation for a superhero really doesn't matter unless you know the backstory of the hero. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's kind of my thought on it. And if you don't know who, Barry is always going for Iris West. Iris West is his rock. Literally, most of the CW shows literally talking about he's going to keep running back to Iris West. Iris West is his rock. That's what's driving him. So, hey, Iris West is his thing. If they have that for Jess Chambers or somebody else, it'd be great to establish that ahead of time. I want to know the character up front. I want to know more about the character before I really care about anything like that, if that makes any sense. I feel like they did it more for marketing than for anything else. Not to say that I have any issues with that. From what I have read on the new Flash, they're great. I believe they said that for the Future State, like I said, they're not going to do much with Future State anymore. They're going to continue a few things. I think they're going to continue doing the Justice League Future State comics, and then they may revisit a few here or there. But their next big thing is actually Infinite Frontier, which takes place on another Prime Earth after Darkest Nights, or after Dark Knight Death Metal. So, once again, they're playing with the Omniverse thing, having multiple Earth Primes. The big news from that one, which once again spoiler, is Wally West is actually going to take over as the Flash on that main universe. Barry Allen's going to step back and join the Omniverse team, while Wally West is now going to be officially part of the Flash comics again. He's going to be taking place in the actual mainline Flash comics. Wally West is now going to be the Flash again. So, solid news on that. But getting back to Future State, I'm pretty sure they're going to continue doing the Future State Justice League comics, which is why I kind of want to read those a little bit more. That's also the only place that you're going to be able to look into Jess Chambers. And I really want to look into that character a little bit more. And a few of the other characters as well. I've heard good things about quite a few of them. I think this is mainly more of like an experimentation for DC to tell more about those characters that they kind of had ideas for. Because for the most part, roughly over 100 years for most characters, even though things have changed here or there, it's always been the same characters for the most part. For a little bit, Wally West took over as the Flash. For a little bit, Kyle Rayner or Jonathan Stewart's taking over for Green Lantern. Every once in a while, we may have had like Dick Grayson or somebody take over for Batman. Occasionally, there's been a new hero here or there, but there hasn't been like a full-on like, hey, this guy is Batman, not Bruce Wayne. This guy is, Superman. No one else is. This universe establishes, hey, all the heroes you knew before are dead or gone. They're not coming back. This is the Justice League now, are these members. And I would not gonna lie, I want to explore that world. So I'm very excited to see what they're going to do with it. I hope it's not a failed experiment. I hope other people were like me and were actually genuinely impressed with Future State and are hoping to see more. But yeah, those are my kind of thoughts on it. I do think that quite a few characters, like I said, I think the Wonder Woman, I know Jess Chambers the Flash, and then I think Andy Curry, Aquawoman. I think I've heard really good reviews on all three of them. A lot of people seem to like those characters. So I think they'll probably do more with them for sure. It's still, I've heard some good things about Jace as well, the new Batman. They actually have two Batman comics for Future State. They had Future State Batman, and then they had Dark Detective. So they actually had two different Batman comics, one following Bruce Wayne's story, and one that followed Jace's story. So I think they're going to explore with those a little bit more, but I do know a lot of people liked The Flash, and a lot of people liked the new Wonder Woman, and like I said, a lot of people liked Aquawoman. So if they don't do anything more with those, they got to be crazy. I do know, apparently DC did like Jess Chambers enough to put her in The Flash. Apparently, one of the big rumors for anybody who watches the Flash series, like I do, in Season 8, they believe that this new non-binary Flash is going to appear in the CW universe. So, once again, that would be good as well. But those are just a little bit of my thoughts on Future State. That's my review on these two comics. I give them, I would say like a 9 out of 10. They are really good. It's only a 2-issue series, so it's not like a deep financial dive. I think just the original. They actually have a second edition printing of these. This is first edition. They have the variant, and then now they have like a second edition, which is just like a different kind of cover, just kind of a matte, like looking red. I think they're only like $3-4. So you can get both these for under $10. I'd recommend getting them if you guys see them at your comic store. They're really great. I love them. Really good 2-issue series. I do hope at some point they actually do like an animated universe with the Future State story, because I think it would work really well. Also, that kind of helps tell the story that interweaves so much in between the different universes really well. Because if it's going to jump from, the Flash storyline to Teen Titans to Justice League, if it's going to jump to all these different plot points. And this also spans, I didn't even realize until I looked into it a little bit more. This story spans, I think, like 50 to 60 years into the future. So, like, it jumps quite a bit from wherever Darkest Night Death Metal takes off. It's literally a direct sequel of Dark Knight Death Metals, and then jumps like 60 years into the future throughout all these events. So, it covers a good chunk of that universe's story. So, I would highly recommend checking them out. Like I said, I would definitely read what your poison is first. So, like, if you're a Batman fan, I'd recommend reading either The Dark Detective or Batman first. I recommend, if you're into Aquaman, try the Aquawoman Future State novels first. If you're a fan of Teen Titans, read the Teen Titan ones first. Read what you like first and see if you like them. And then if you want to expand more afterwards, go ahead. And also, there's a few websites as well that tell you a synopsis of everything that happens. So if you're like me and you just want to read the Flash part, you can kind of read what picks up afterwards if you don't want to like invest into the comic. If you just want kind of like a quick summary, like I did, of what happens afterwards. So, but either way, like I said, I'd give it probably about 9 out of 10. I really love them. Go ahead, check them out, guys. Till next time, talk with y'all later.